Today I will be doing Prairie Mass League High School round number 154, question 5 and 6. Question 5 asks, the Smith family consists of a mother, a father, and some children. The average age of the members of the family is 25. The father is 50 years old, and the average of their mother and children is 20. How many children are there in the family? So first, we can assume that there are X children in their family. That would mean there is X plus 2 people in the family because one of them is the mother and the other is the father. So the first information you have is if you combine all of their family members' age, and take the average, you will get 25. So let's assume that the age of the mother plus all the children are M. So let M be the age of the mother plus all their children. Then their average would be 50, which is their father, plus their mother and all their children, over X plus 2, because there's X plus 2 people here. And this will be equal to 25. And the second information you have is the average age of the mother and the children is 20. So that means M, which is the total age of their mother and children, divided by X plus 1, because there's only X plus 1 people here, all the children and the mother. And this is equal to 20. So then we're able to use this equation here to get M is equal to 20x plus 20 by multiplying the x plus 1 on both sides. So we can substitute this M over here. So our new equation would be 50 plus 20x plus 20 over x plus 2 equals to 25. But instead of putting the x plus 2 here, we can multiply x plus 2 on both sides. So we can write it over here. And this would be equal to, we can distribute this to get 25x plus 50. And after some further calculations, let's say you minus 50 on both sides, and you minus 20x on both sides. So now you're left with 5x on the right-hand side and 20 on the left-hand side. And now you will get x equals to 4. So there are 4 children, and the answer is C. Okay, so let's move on to question 6. question 6 is asking integers A, B, C, and D, not necessarily distinct, are chosen independently from 0 to 2023. What's the probability that AD minus BC is even? So, since we're talking about odd or even here, we don't care what A and B and C and D exactly are. We just care about if they're odd or even. So the probability that a number here, let's say A, is odd would be 1/2, and it would, like 1/2 of the time it would be even, because there is an equal number of odd and even number from 0 to 2023. Because it ends at 0, which is it starts at 0, which is an even number, and it ends at 2023, which is an odd number. So every even number, you'll get an odd number. And that applies to 2022 and 2023. So now we got that out of the way. We can find out what is the probability that you get an even number here. So this is just two random numbers. In this case, we care about what does A and D, the product of A and D. So in this case, this A would be A and B would be D. So since we know the chances of getting odd, this O stand for odd here, and the E stand for even. The chances of getting odd and even are equal. That means all the combination of two numbers being odd and even have an equal chance of happening. So if your first number, let's say A here, is odd, and the second number here, D, is odd, when you multiply them, you will get another odd number. For example, 1 times 1 will be 1. You will always get an odd number. And we can prove that because every odd number is 2x plus 1 and 2y plus, and we can write them as 2x plus 1, 2y plus 1. They will become, when we multiply them out, they will become 4xy plus 2x plus 2y plus 1. And since all of these are divisible by 2, an odd number times an odd number is also an odd number. And an even number times an odd number is even number, because this even number here already have a factor of 2. That means its product is also going to have a factor of 2, making it even. So since they all have the same product, they're all equally likely to happen. All of these combinations are equally likely to happen because the probability of this being odd or even are the same. We can figure out that there are 3/4 of the time you would get an even number. And 1/4 of the time you will get an odd number. So that applies to AD, and it also applies to BC, since they're both the product of two numbers from here. And now let's look at what will happen if we subtract AD from BC? So if AD is odd and BC is odd, then we will get an even number. Again, using this example, if we do subtract instead of multiply, the two ones will cancel out, and you would just end up with 2x minus 2y. And this is obviously divisible by 2, because if you divide by 2, it would just give you x minus y. And that's an integer because x and y are integers. So in this case, you will get an even number. And if you have an even number minus an odd number, you'll get an odd number. And so on. So now let's calculate what is the probability that this case will happen, gets to happen. So if you get an odd number, there's 1/4 of the chance that happening. So you need to get an odd number first, which is 1/4 of the time, and another odd number, which is another 1/4 of the time. So that is 1 in 16th of the time you'll get this case. And similarly, this would be 3/4 and 1/4. So 3/4 times 1/4. This is equal to 3/16. And this one is also 3/16 using the same logic as this one, because this is 1/4 and 3/4. And this one would be 3/4, an even 3/4, and another 3/4, which is 9/16. So it is asking you, what's the probability that this is even? The probability that this is even is this case, the probability of this case happening combined with the probability of this case happening. So it will be 1/16 plus 9/16. This is equal to 10/16, but we can simplify this to 5/8. So the answer is D.